Hello. Good afternoon. My name is Elias Munsha. I'm so excited that you could join me. Today we are starting slightly early because apparently I have several other things to attend to. So Happy New Year. I'm glad that you could join me. Please, if you are able to, spread the word around and let as many people just share it, right? Just like share it with as many people as possible. We have several matters to attend to today. I'm going to copy this and paste it so that you can you can share it with as many people as possible, and then you can also dial in using the StreamYard link that I've just sent. So that is the StreamYard link that I've sent, and so we can discuss a few things today. Thank you for joining me. It's a lot. I promised that I was going to talk about KCM, and the reason why we must talk about KCM is because KCM is very close to my heart because it's in Chingola, where I was born and grew up, Chingola. So definitely KCM is very close to my heart, and what happens with KCM affects all of us, even if I come from the Chwempala side of Chingola and Northern Changa side, which was a mining area. But definitely the miners always had influence and impact on the businesses that were going on in Chwempala. So it definitely touches all of us. It definitely touches us, okay? Now, let's deal with KCM, okay? The issue of KCM. Now, I just want to make some things very, very simple and easy. This is the book from which I will be quoting today, okay? Now, don't say that this lecture is going to be boring. It's likely to be boring. All lectures are boring. Nombo bwafya bwakwebati ngatulelo ndololefi tafyumfuika. Mama no bwafya. So, pali KCM hapa, it's not been understood. There's been a lot of misunderstandings about KCM. I'm not going to quote all of it, the whole book. No. I'll just be directing you to several chapters. Book. This book was written by Regan Blankfen Gates. This gentleman is a Zambian lawyer. Look at the book he has written. Now, this is not even the latest version. He has published a newer version. So otherwise, it's very similar. Now, I need to remind you that basically company laws in the English common law countries such as Canada, Alberta, where I practice as a lawyer, England, UK, Wales, Australia, Zambia, South Africa, Zimbabwe, whatever, all these countries are, the basic structure of company law remains the same. It remains very similar. So there aren't many differences, okay? So practices such as how you set up a company, you register a company, what it means to be a director, what it means to be a shareholder, the powers of the director, and all these things are pretty much standard across the common law countries. And in fact, the doctrines of companies themselves, they are pretty much the same. So the principles cut across the line. But this book is excellent. So I would recommend it to you. Go and find it in Zambia. This is a Zambian author, a Zambian lawyer who has written on company law. Gates Company Law and Practice in Zambia. Okay? And that is the one I'll be using. Nakulalanda mchibemba lero ama principles yonsa na po yakula fumuli chich book. Very, very important. Company law. Today we are in company law, okay? Now, the reason why what is happening at KCM is criminal, okay? It's criminal. It's mafia style kind of doing things is because of what I am going to explain here. Okay. Let's start from the beginning, all right? So I do realize that most of our people, particularly in Chingola, are angry. We are angry as Chingolans. We are angry because we feel that our wealth, our mine, has been mishandled, and misused, basically. It's been abused. And so we have a reason to be angry as people from Chingola. But what we need is a plan. Anger is not a plan. Okay? Ukukalipa atumulivakali te plani yo, uvupondo te plani yo. In addition to the anger, what we need is a plan. Busheni plani shitukwete. Pakuwa tuchite resolve amafia tukwete. Ewo afya bodipo. And so sometimes the muifintunga fiashu pakula bati tufidire munsenga ine. So kuisala ndevet bonsaba ma foreigners ngabaisa bachita maini balona ola so tufidire fye munsenga kanshi fyonse tufichiteshane tufipasefye. So that is a very natural reaction to things. But we need to caution ourselves that okufidire munsenga is not a solution as far as KCM is concerned. Nango ukukwata obukali sana towards investors without a solution does not help us at all. That's why tulefwa ikobuteko bwa steady. First of all, ubuteko bwa extremely steady ubwa ishibo okuteka. Bantu ubuteko ngana bwa ishibo okuteka kuti bwa ishibe fya kusolve amafya tukwete ku KCM. No mbangeza akutiro ubuteko tabukwete area desire ya kusolve amafya mu KCM nishi we are in trouble. We are in complete trouble. Okay? We are in complete trouble ngachakutila obuteko tabuli steady wino okulachita resolve ama problems ayaleisa. Over KCM, bali ubwafya obukalamba sana. No ubwafya bulipo bwakwe bati. Ba PF. Tabale tontonkanya over something that is going to help the people of Zambia. But ero reshafe pa ma pocket yabo. Epela. If you're bachitire kuchingola with KCM, but na appoint liquidator, it's just a way to steal. Nala mulondo lwela bwino nala sopolola. Pakuwati mumfwe. Bantu limonga tulera tuwafushe ekisungu tamumfwa mumona kwana kalimo ife wale ekitafya amano. Ala tamuli amano mfye wale ekita ku KCM. Nala mulondo lwela bwino. Therefore, ngana mukwata question apa munjipushe. KCM. If you chitika KCM, if you chitika na kuma maini yonse, tapari plani bwino yo. Mwamona? Echo ndela ndira inoko bati wa PF wa mano na makana afipela. So, amano na makanga fiapela nomba, kula chita fie chite. Okufuaira mwenshire ya kuiba. Okay, natuambeko. KCM. Iyi company, beta ati KCM, Konkola Copper Mines, ayin. Fimwe finalala ndalero, fimo fiala bako boring, ayin. So nomba ndefo ko bati mwikale mukutikishe bwino nangu fyaba boring shane emwe kutika fe pako bati mutole motumo the company known as KCM, okay, Konkola Copper Mines ni company okulingana nefyo uyu mulumendo alefunda lawyer mwina Zambia muri di book ayin alefunda okwe bati ifyo company ipangwa nefyo KCM yapangirwe nifi kwadi ZCCM Investment Holdings. ZCCM Investment Holdings area company ebena chiruba bayishire epanga after ZCCM yawa. Okay, bali sapanga ko ka company yake etwati ZCCM Investment Holdings so that akaka company kale kwata kwa ma shares mu mines yonse ayo efufu ebena Zambia twashitishe. So every mine ZCCM yali kwata moka share. Therefore mukutikishe sana. Na Konkola Copper Mine ine. Iliyo tuwata mpire Konkola Copper Mine. Bashisha abena mwanawasa kuli Vedanta. Ida company da Vedanta ifyo chali nefe. Vedanta na ZCCM Investment Holdings baisa pamo. Elo bapanga company iyo bale itoko bati Konkola Copper Mines. Kwa adi bana bambia ma investors ama shareholders. Bengi. Nomba lelo ndela ndafepali babiri. Vedanta na ZCCM Investment Holdings. Umo chalola. Gara okutela mwapanga company ipya. Elo mwaita Konkola Copper Mines. Ama directors eba abakwati bene. Ayin. Therefore munkonke bwino sana. Ama directors eba abakwati bene. So muma directors mulia KCM. yali kweta ama directors baba Vedanta because Vedanta yakwatisha ma shares ayengi. So ngana tukwata 10 shares ain mKCM tukwata if yapala 10 shares Vedanta limbina ikwata nangwa 60%. Ama percentages fyali fulungana shafilondolole na alami pera fya ma example. So Vedanta ngana ikwata nangwa 7 shares ninshi yala kwata about 7 directors. Ain so Vedanta 7 directors. ZCCM nayo ine yakwata ma directors mu board bayete ukobati board of directors ya KCM. Ain ninshi mwapanga company ya KCM. Government na ikwata ma directors, ZCCM na ikwata ma directors, elo na ba Vedanta na bena na ba kwata ma directors. Nomba, umulando wako Vedanta company ikulu, ikwatishe mo ama shares. Eyo nomba ba pela controlling. Okwebati nomba, ini company mwapanga, ZCCM na Vedanta, mwapanga company KCM. Nomba, umulando wako ama shares ayengi, mwashitisha kuli ba Vedanta nishi, nomba ba Vedanta, ba kwatisha ama directors abengi. About ngabakwacha ma directors abengi nishi nomba eba kulachita if you tweet at management nomba nangu Vedanta chita manage their company imwe pomongo buteko stumo mwali kwata ma seats on the board of KCM. So ngachakutila baisa mukumweba ba PF kwebati Zambia tayakwata ma seats pali aya ma company mwishi bati bofi twalikwata ama seats pali aya ma company twalikwata ama directors ZCCM yalikwata ama directors on these companies nobuteko bwine bwalikwata ama directors on these companies mungu tikishe bwino eva chali kuli KCM nomba mining yalishupa pantu ilafuwa ikwendala meshingi sana ichilenga chakwe bati equipment yeka iya mining it's extremely expensive. Nomba nangumwashita equipment ya mining ive chala na maintenance ine elo noku pofila po bwangu pande fima machine nga vyaingira mu mugodi fyamba fireimba kopa fila po bwangu sana ain therefore mungu tikisha bono fila po bwangu sana so kanshi mufiro kuichita what is known as recapitalization. So nanguna mkwato mukuba otu wako atakunchanga kulia you still need recapitalization so that mwalete la mwama billion na yengi pakwe bat mwaya mukuimba bwino ifima machine tafile pwa. Okay, very important. KCM. Okay, so tuwalikuweta ma directors ZCCM ero tuwalikuweta nama shareholding Vedanta kwatishe ama shares ayengi so everybody ama directors everybody ama managers. So ito chali fyako bati idio ZCCM na ubuteko bwa Zambia na Vedanta fyaishile pamoku panga KCM fyalisa umfuana ukweba ati na mwishiba imiti parliament taibura kushenkana. Meaning when people are together kula utuma problems utuchita arise. Companies are not different ne fyupo fyababe nge fyupo mama imenga basa meba tichichupo tamwa bobo afya iyo mwali bobo afya mufyupo fyose so mufyupo mwaba mafya. And so that's exactly what happened. So number bali kweteka agreement ahead of time ukobate if we have any disagreement between Vedanta ZCCM na government of the Republic of Zambia kuchitashani kuyafuaya kwa abantu abakwisa tuwafuirisha pokuba tuchite resolve ama problems. Okay? Iyo bayita ti arbitration agreement. Ekwebati if we have a problem if we in this KCM muri marriage tuwapanga. Remember marriage ya KCM muri ama company nshi muri ama company ya tatu yengi na yambi mo yadi nomba ayali relevant yali fe ya tatu hapa in Vedanta ZCCM Investment Holdings na government of the Republic of Zambia elo notuma shareholders na tumbi elo balando ko bati ngala kutira tuwapu sana tuwalaka abaka tuwafuirisha ko kusolve ama problems bantu abo tweeted ama arbitrators. Okay, bantu nshaba idingi bantu it's a very big operation and complicated operation. Idingi bali aba afuirisha ko kusolve ama problems aya ifi baba fumia mufyalo fimbi because bali ba independent nga mwabatwala kuli judge wa Zambia limo judge wa Zambia kuti abako biased mwamona nga ni judge nga nebo judge ndo anakulire kuchiwa empala ero bandetera ati umfa Vedanta efyo ekitire ene ku sign po fye njebere Vedanta twakutamfya but ndechita react not according to law, ndechita react according to ubukadi. It's very real. So nomba ama agreements ya msango oyo kulaba ati mwasalako abaliko independent abayikalire international independent groups ebo mwaeba ati eba kala tuwafuirisha akonga chakutira tuwapusana. Very important. So nomba iriyo KCM ya let's operate government yala yoko bati baka bapera kwa mabilion pako watoka seri capitalize government ya afirwa na yali pia ba Vedanta na bena instead yako bati na bena wale posa molo pia bala ire na wota wale posa molo pia bala ire bali pia mamona ZCM investment holdings na yo so what company taide bomba bwino KCM so iriyo company taide bomba bwino imwengo obuteko nomba ifyo mufuira okuchita kuya kuli iriya ina agreement mwapangire ero mwale panga company mwabasenda ba Vedanta mwabatwala kuli arbitrator okwebati ifwe twabaleta ba Vedanta batuchusha icho tulefu achako bati ba Vedanta bafikirisha efyo balayire na Vedanta na ikwata voice yalanda ebere yo mkwayu bwafye bulipo buteko pantu buteko nabo bwineta bule fikirisha efyo bwatulayire okwebati nga twachita invest mu KCM ni fifyo bukachita efyo chali no kuba chikankala sana nomba ifyo chali nefi instead yako bati ubuteko busende Vedanta bubutwale kwisa kuma arbitrators ifyo chali nifi baishite buka fyo bushuko bumo baze KCM abati iyi company twaichita place under liquidation na nabwekera ko kupano ubwafya strategy ya shupa sana mma company yesu mu Zambia wako bati ubuteko iringi ama political parties yateka they are extremely corrupt ebo naula business ebo naule chalo. In this context the Patriotic Front is extremely corrupt. Ngakuli by election ifyo bachitanifi baya kuma company ayena eko baya lombe mpia shama by elections na KCM ifyo barechita so bale yakuli ba Vedanta ba mwenye elo babe bati imwe ba mwenye na tukuata by election kumbala nangu kumilenge tupeni ko kanono elo nomba ya ma companies ya station yaba pera nomba when you are open to corruption like that it means you cannot follow up on important matters. You can't. That's what they were doing. And the reason is this. You see, iringi tulaidishanyo kwevati our wealth is being exported or stolen by outsiders. Okay? That is the song that President Lungu is singing right now. Kwevati foreigners are the ones that are coming to steal our wealth. Now, let me just give you the KCM example. On the KCM board, we have ZCCM. ZCCM directors sit on the board. In Zambia, the mines are in our country. The workers are Zambians. Nchanga and Konkola copper mines are in Zambia. They are in Chiwempa. They are in Chingola. They are in Nchanga. They are in our place. When the copper is being extracted from those open pit mines and from those underground mines, they are still in Zambia. When they are being exported, they get exported on Zambian roads. When they are being cleared for export, they are cleared by Zambian customs officials. Now, how can you today tell me, Ukwebati, the Zambian government, the Patriotic Front, has no idea how much copper gets exported from our own country? Let me tell you, they know. And the reason why these foreign companies are stealing, it is because the ruling party is stealing with them. Okay? There is absolutely no way that you as a country can have Vedanta come to KCM, steal copper, and the government has no records whatsoever. So what is the problem? The problem isn't Vedanta. The problem is we need to look. Let's look at Botswana. Similar arrangements. Botswana. Baakuyikata fie na diamond in Botswana. It's espionage, mulando, against the state. You are dead in Botswana. Baakuyikata fie with ka diamond. The reason is the government is very particular about how you mine the wealth. Na chain of production up to the time that you are exporting your wealth. Everything is very well accounted for. That is the missing link in the management of our wealth in Zambia. The major culprit are not the multinational companies. The major culprit is the party that is in charge of our government. They're the ones that are stealing. They are the ones that accept bribes so that they can look the other way. In Milenge, kumilenge okushabana kopa. In Milenge, the first office that was established before Tabalakulako, anything in Milenge, it was Office of the President. Office of the President officers. In Milenge, Kumushi, Office of the President officers. Every bar in Zambia, it has a representation being watched. Office of the President. Every bar. Konsoko imumu ya mkunu wabuarwa. Bari ya munuanabo, they are not, they're not drunk mates, they work for the government. Okay? It is the most represented government department. It's known as OP Special Branch. They know much of what is going on in Zambia. How can you now come and tell me, okay, about the copper that is exported from Unchanga gets stolen by Vedanta or gets stolen by other foreigners? That is not true. Okay? So, if there is any solution that we need, it is a leadership that is deliberate about the wealth of our country. A leadership that knows and can track every ounce of copper that is mined from Nchanga. Now, the PF made it appear like suddenly they were very surprised and reacted against KCM. But no, no. They cannot tell us that they were surprised. They knew exactly what we produce out of that mine. ZRA, Zambia Revenue Authority, they know exactly what is in there. So if you do not strengthen your chain, then anybody can come and steal from you. So okulachita blame but yo mkwaini ba neba barengere iyo teba neba barengere iyo pano pachipanda. The problem is ubuteko. Okay? That is KCM. One, the government did not utilize, if your agreement Yalan did it, how to resolve the problem. Two, the government was negligent in following up on what was being declared, what was being mined. Muchalo chesu. If we cannot be responsible for the mine, for what our own country, what are we going to be responsible for goodness sake? La PF na bafiru okuteka balungu bafirwa defye bateke echalo efiyo defyo ishimi tegeresh defye bateke echalo kange weka teka we uleteke ichalo uleteka atiyo mkwai umukubo ulefuma ku, you know, the copper that is coming from KCM, we have no idea. Ababa sungu bareiba. No. Okay? That is one issue. Now here is the lecture. Okay, bear with me. So number suddenly ZCCM apparently kwatati yale esha elo nomba yasabu ko obushiko. Okay? Obushiko. Number therefore the reason why the confusion is existing right now in KCM. So Ganam Kwata company KCM First of all, the Zambian government yalikwata sovereign right. Okay, sovereign right yakwe bati. Nanguna mkwata contract yakwe bati ifyefyo tukachita about KCM. Ubuteko kutuwasa imafe one day bwapokolola. It's known as nationalization. Okay? Kutuwasa landa vet imaba Vedanta. Twadishwa, we have that contract okobati you're going to be controlling this thing. Number tuwapoka. Ain. Elonga mwapoka azubuteko. You are supposed to compensate ba Vedanta. Badabene mwashitire ko mwabachita compensate. Mwabapera ko kanono ata bane if tutafire bomba bwino. All. You take them kuma arbitrators. Mwaya beba ati yo not kwata kwa kakabwafia lekeni tuchite resolve, lekeni tuchite terminate your relationship. That is how you're supposed to behave as a government. The reason why you are doing that is you're following international law, because investment is now international. You know, now Chinese it's international, you know. This is how we are going to do it. No. So you need to tighten all the screws about the supply chain if you're in your copper. 1. 2, you need to follow utuma lay down procedures. The international community does not become confused about what you are doing. So number kukonka utuma a few international conventions and guidelines. So as ubuteko ngamlefo kupoka ijamaini kukonka the lay down procedure kutumwa poka. Follow the lay down procedure that at the end benefits your country. Remember, you are doing something to benefit your country, to benefit your economy. Number, PF knew you. Instead of beginning the process of either repossessing KCM from Vedanta or taking Vedanta kuma arbitrators, the government made a very huge mistake, and this is the issue. Instead of doing that, the government instead utilized the procedure that is known as winding up a company or liquidation. Okay. Liquidation. Everybody should decide to pick on liquidation. Number, it's a papsha. And this is the challenge, because law of liquidation, it's the same. In Canada, kuno better, naku England, naku Zambia, it's the same. Ama principles fimo fine tafiapsana hiyo. Garaptira mwabika company under liquidation nish mwatampa ko process of winding it down. Mubike company under liquidation, elo futhi nomba mwamba kokula leta mo investments pakobat muchte grow. No, because it's a liquidation. That's why it's known as liquidation. Liquidation. That's what it means. Elo, ama liquidators are not business specialists. Ama liquidators, they don't even know the business of the thing that they are liquidating. For example, KCM. Ngamwasa point to Montufia Pala Miringo at you are the liquidator of KCM. Miringo has no experience running a mine. You are not looking for someone to make that mine viable. When you are liquidating, you are looking for someone to wind down the company so that it pays its creditors and its debtors or creditors. When my accountants. So that it pays its creditors. Elo number wants to wind down. In other words, from the time of a provisional liquidation, you are trying to have the company wound down. Number, the confusion. Here is the confusion. Yakobati, mwabomfia the liquidation process. And yet, what you are doing is not actually liquidation. What you are doing is actually trying to have Milingo become the person who is running KCM. Number wafya wakwebati takwata experience ya running ama mines. 1, ni lawyer. Elwama lawyers tabakwata experience of running anything. Bega mi beba. Ni lawyer njmo mfopata alechta run anything. So ni lawyer. Number that's why I have a liquidator. I actually help which the wind down company. Number liquidation. On the other hand, operate company. So therefore, there is a contradiction. Nature lengo kovati vachite appoint liquidator nicho ba PF badishibwa okuba ati nga babonfye liquidator bakalyamo bakeba mulengo fo bwino ekyo select e procedure it is to steal bantu liquidator alikwata ensambu iyakushitisha okusampwisha kuti abula asampwisha company asampwisha fyonse fyasampwisha ashitisha pokoba atachiteshani alipire abantu inkongole enchito yakwe liquidator na imbi yakwe bati liquidator even if tamulipire bambyabo mwakongola liquidator yena kumulipira always nangu tapadi imbi yashakwa liquidator shena shifire shamoneka echo baire salira liquidator PF member PF lawyer eo baire sala okuba atiwe walaba liquidator nicho balefwa okuba ati bachite secure akasaka for their campaigns via sonta miringo elo some reports from news diggers yarirandati ali apokaidia VAT refund ya KCM apokolola VAT refund ya KCM bamulipira and where has that money gone katwishuko shaya ain bamulipira. So when we are objecting to the procedures that ubuteko bwabo mfeshe nicho one the procedure that they used is not going to guarantee jobs in Chingola. No. It is only going to guarantee money for the Patriotic Front. It's going to drain the resources of our country. Okay. So, ubushiku elo baishire ya nomba baya chitashani baya chita appoint liquidator using a very controversial procedure. Okay, it's known as ex parte order. Okay, ex parte order. Now, let me tell you what an ex parte order is. Okay, ex parte order. The standard for arbitration in the English common world is inter parte, meaning you talk to both parties. If you're a judge, you talk to part A and part B. Ngatabale onfuana. Mwa onfuemba dishonse shibiri ero wapingula. Ain. Inter parte. Two parties. Mwa onfu bonse ero wapingula. Very important. So ngani webo judge urefu okupuisha efyupo. Na muloko court mwalimona. Murefu okupuisha efyupo. Ambasha mfumuta bala ndafi kumuntu moyo. Bareta complainant, elo baita na defendant, elo bonse ba londolola, elo shamfumu after ba umfu bakutika kuimba dishonse shibiri elo ba pingula ati yo ifyo tuwa pingula nifyo pushimola verenga ma issues ya mloko court. That is the procedure kumfu emba dishonse shibiri elo wa pingula nomba kwa livako extraordinary procedure iya kwa batu wa umfu afyo lubali lumo elo wa pingula. Okay, iyabaita at ex parte, meaning wayafya weka wayaiba judge. Ain number ex parte procedures yafuai kwa kanodimbi kuli something huge ichakweba ati ngata upokeredia ex parte order fimufyala onaika. For example, ngata there is a disagreement between shareholders bamu KCM, between Vedanta, ZCCM and the government of Zambia. For you to grant an ex parte order, it must be so. Vedanta yala tumefima bomb yona ulemain. You know, it must be something that is an emergency. Number order ya son telemiringo. Ain. Therefore, mumfuikishe. Yari boshiko. Atikwali judge alemba katuishi ZCCM yalemba an affidavit elo yatwali la judge atwe judge ale nomba saina po usonte miringo at taking over KCM ubushiko ukwabulo kwita ulubali lumbyuko bati ruise na lwena umfwe bantu judge kutalanda fiati yomkwai na umfwa ZCCM ifyo mwalanda apo mwalande fi ndefu ayo kumfwa kuli Vedanta nayo ise ilande okweba ati mlefu ayo kuchita appoint provisional liquidator pakoba ta taking over mine efyo chaba Ebetat interparty. Nomba imingala toshirechitika in Zambian procedure. Okay, this is the problem with Zambian procedure. Here is the issue. When a judge issues what is known as an ex parte temporary order, kadaba pere miringo. Kadisa sonta miringo ukuchita possess yonse KCM without hearing from Vedanta. Okay, Vedanta is out of the question. Now, here is the problem. Garakutela muasonta a provisional liquidator. It means idia KCM apokolola yaba yakwe. It means Vedanta yale tungulu la KCM nomba yale kamwa ipokolola. Okay? Abanandi, some of the lawyers in Zambia, if you banje bafyakwe bati, it's okay to have an ex parte order as long as you're going to have an inter parte hearing at a later stage. No. No. Here is the reason. The reason is because if an ex parte temporary order grants a person permanent powers, you have to go inter parte. Kandondolole. Ngachakutira ex parte umuntu aya ekafi aya kulisha mvumu bamupera akapepa latu senda KCM. Ain. Elo kaliaga pepa la bamupera kamupele ensambo iyakusampwisha KCM. Awe mufuire mwabeta bavedata mwaumfwa nabo benefyo balalanda papariri yeriashe nango kuchita pretend chawamapo imwe as judges mwachita pretend as long as mwaumfwe mbarishonse bakobati if yalonga fyaumfu wako South Africa yaumfu wako England yaumfu na Canada na yonga yaumfu wako bakalanda tawo kwena bali umfwe mbarishonse no magarakutila imwe as judiciary kuya fiat yomkwai ini ex parte order mwasaina po mwamupela KCM umuntu bakamiseka judges bambi other jurisdiction pantu business nomba takuli fiat firechitika fya Zambia iyo Vedanta ine yali listed on the London Stock Exchange. I understand na KCM na yo ine yali listed ain na KCM ine yali listed is it Johannesburg or London? So kanshi ni international, it's a global village, everything affects the other. Ngarakutila ama courts yambokola moneka very steady in terms of international business. The international world ikachita trust your country. Okay, but it's true, we can invest in Zambia because ama judges and the judiciary, bad is shpa, they are steady. Balafua yokumfwa imbadi shonse. Idio miringo asendele KCM, we objected. We said our way. Ex parte order that grants permanent powers to this guy is not right. Ti mukano kumfwa kuli Vedanta. Elo nomba mwapelo muntu from one side. At panga fi affidavit at yo KCM yalikuwa tenkongole shanshani tabatu pere nkongole shanshani so echo to pere ni company to control nangu sonten yu a control abe liquidator. Ni liquidator nshi PF member. Okay? Twalichitire object. Tefyo chifire chabe fiyo. Ubuteko tabufire ukulachita compromise judiciary muri uyu musango. No. Okay. Again, abanandi banje bati no. If ngamwakwata ex parte order, elo nomba jaja alanda tukanshi nkesa umfwa imbadi imbi at a later stage. In the meantime, nakupera iwe miringo aleka shitishe company. Efe liquidation order ilanda. Kashitishe company. Kachite take over. Nama bank accounts kapokolole. Kariake naka pepa la jaja pera. Ni shikaku pele ensambo we miringo. Lungu. Ukuyapo kama bank accounts. One. Wachita fire board of directors because board of directors is no longer in charge. Ni we nomba wewe our board of directors. We're taking over nama lawyers. Now this is where the issue is. So, before that temporary liquidation order is given, KCM yalikwetama lawyers. But overnight, Idio milingo bamupela the liquidation order. It means then that baliama lawyers KCM yako ete milingo abatamfia aleta po ama lawyers vakwe. Mlemfomungalato. Which means when the time comes for an inter-party hearing, it's not KCM that is being heard. It's not the KCM that is controlled by Vedanta that is being heard. It is KCM that is controlled by the very person who was given that temporary order. So when the hearing is actually coming, it's so kandondolole. So before the liquidation order, we have KCM. And KCM is controlled by Vedanta. And Vedanta has its own lawyers. And so KCM is controlled by these lawyers. Okay? Let's say Munsha Law. Munsha Law, they are the ones that are lawyers for KCM. Number, ZCCM goes to a judge and obtains a temporary order that appoints Milingo. Milingo becomes the liquidator. When Milingo receives that order, he fires all the lawyers for KCM. He appoints his own lawyers, such that when the day of the inter-party hearing comes, it is not those original KCM lawyers that are representing the company. It is Milingo's own lawyers, which means then that Milingo is now KCM, and Milingo's lawyers are now standing for KCM. So the inter-party hearing is now between the one side. Pretend this is the inter-party hearing. This is exactly what was happening when it came before the Lusaka High Court. The judge said Vedanta and its lawyers are irrelevant in this case. The only people that we are going to hear is the liquidator and the lawyers for KCM. And who are the lawyers KCM? Milingo's lawyers. Now, how can you call it that it's an inter-party hearing? It's not an inter-party hearing. When a judge in Johannesburg looked at this saga, they were surprised. How can you ever entertain this in Zambia? How can you even allow it? Right? There was nothing urgent. Vedanta to argue in court. Or in any case, why didn't you let it go to arbitration? So the Court of Appeal has now ruled correctly to say this matter must go to arbitration. Now, what this means is Vedanta is definitely not coming to Zambia. It's not. The problem is that as long as this matter goes for arbitration, Zambians are going to be on the hook to pay Vedanta. And over this problem, it would have been resolved very easily if the government was listening. Nokuba steady. But they were not. They acted at Tufirire Munsenga. They acted negligently towards important affairs of the country. They have now jeopardized taxpayers' money. Instead, if they had done that, Gawari cut legal costs, what is known as a settlement, boundfuana. You know, you owe here, you owe there, you owe there. We are going to offset it by this. We are going to give you a kanono, kabie. That's what a government should have done. Now, they made it complicated. By making it complicated, Zambians are now incurring a huge, huge legal bill in millions of dollars. By the time that this matter is arbitrated, is it in Johannesburg or in London, Zambians will be on the hook for legal fees. Zambians will be on the hook for the money to compensate Vedanta. And who are the winners out of this? It's Milingo and the Patriotic Front. We challenge them. It's Milingo and the Patriotic Front. They are the winners. Now, we suddenly hear, Okobati, even while this matter is in court, Milingo, the liquidator, now wants to split KCM into two. It does not make sense. Okay? if the government of the Republic of Zambia is taking over this mine, then let the government of the Republic of Zambia grow its balls and grab the mine, clearly. But what they are doing, if they shoka, it means then that they want to, first of all, enrich the party using Lungu as a proxy. That's what is happening. They want to use Lungu as a proxy to enrich their political party using these dubious things going on at KCM. How does a liquidator begin making business decisions to split a company? Basampuishe. Because parapako chita split, abantu bakapualala. You know, pako chita split from smelter from mining. Abantu bakapualala. Ama assets, they are going to be on sale, bakashitisha. Efe balefo kuchita. Balefo kusampuisha. Gefe basampuisha fimbi. What about jobs? Here is the challenge. The only thing that is cushioning KCM jobs at the moment is the government. They are trying to give KCM, under this provisional liquidator, a lot of leeway. They are lending money to pay workers. That's the only thing. Otherwise, without investment, particularly foreign investment, KCM is not going to survive. That's why it needs a sober leaders, sober ruling party, sober president to solve those problems. Not mentality ya go to fidire munsenga. No. To fidire munsenga. In the meantime, iwole bika po abantu wobe as liquidators so that basampuishe pantunika fundraising opportunity because what your party has a lot of money using your proxies. So if ZCCM decided to appoint this liquidator, how did ZCCM decide? How did ZCCM pick this particular lawyer? Why did ZCCM pick a PF lawyer and member to become liquidator? It was to steal. Anyway, so now they want to split it into two. A liquidator cannot do that. You know? A liquidator So this is the book I'm reading. It's from Regan Blanken Gates. Blankfen Gates. He's a Zambian lawyer. He has written a book on company law. Okay? Nimbiga nama bookmarks. Chapter 16, receivers and receiver managers. Is KCM under receivership? No, because they've complicated it. The other thing is winding up, types of winding up. Page 373, persons who may petition for a company to be wound up by court. So ZCCM is one of those. Creditors, abo KCM yako ngolako. Appointment of a provisional liquidator. Page 386. 386. What are the appointment and style of the liquidator? Again, it's part of winding up. Liquidation is part of winding up. Liquidation is part of winding up. I'm left focused to restructure company. You go through restructuring procedures. Yaripsana with winding up. Again, we ask, what is it that the PF government was trying to do with KCM? If they were trying to restructure it, why didn't they use procedures for restructuring? If they were trying to repossess it and nationalize it, why haven't they done so? It's our country, it's our mine. Why didn't they do that? Now, we hear that the company is going to be split up. And you know what authority is using to split up KCM? The same authority that was given to him at midnight. Ex parte. An order, temporary order, ex parte that has permanent powers is not temporary at all. If you are issuing a temporary order whose consequence is permanent, it is a permanent order. So ngabachita split into two. What will be the name of that company? How does it affect the name of KCM as a company? Right? So are you going to incorporate? Are you just creating two separate divisions? Are you actually creating two separate companies? If that is the case, which registration office is going to accept from a liquidator that they've split the company into two? But therefore, you see the problem with PF. Miringo has no experience, is not a minor. I don't even know. No. Therefore, kuchita split. Bantu. Ba PF balefwayo kuiva in PF for next year's elections. It's an opportunity because basampwishe. Epela. Bantu kwena ama solutions yambi epo yadi if they wanted to do anything sensible as far as KCM is concerned. It is as simple as that. Lacuna in the procedure. It's not even a lacuna. It's confusion. Confusion batched over KCM. And they've been doing it over many other companies. Many companies. And it's usually PF-aligned lawyers. Everybody appointed as liquidators. So, no info from the other side. They just go ahead. Tomorrow you find that your company is being taken over by a liquidator. As a shareholder, as a main shareholder. Everybody pokololama companies. It's okay, it's just an ex parte temporary order. No, it's not an ex parte temporary order. It is a permanent order. So, what is the solution? The solution is the government of Zambia should make its intentions known. Ngawalefo nationalize KCM, Navach nationalize Vapokololefia in very clear and ambiguous terms. Ogupokolola using a private person, Miringo. Akobati muka mulipire mpie shingi akebe for the benefit of the Patriotic Front. Iyo. We can't let it at Yom Kwai Chitifie. This KCM now, under Miringo, it's owing millions of dollars to CEC, Copper Belt Energy Corporation, a private company. Millions of dollars. Amalaiti ba Miringo bali firuo kulipira malaiti bale wonfia okupangira molpia KCM bali firuo kulipira. CEC might go under because ba KCM ba Miringo na baleta mulomo mulire CEC. An indigenous Zambian company, CEC, with investments from Zambian parastatals. It's in trouble, partly because of the mismanagement at KCM. What is the solution? Repossess it, nationalize it, and pay Vedanta off. And then the second thing is, all you directors on all these mining companies, be serious. You were not reading the reports. So you've not been reading the reports of these parastatal board of directors. When you are on the board, what do you do? When you are ZCCM and you are on the board of KCM, you have no idea of what KCM, or you have no idea of what goes on at Mopani. And yet you have shares in Mopani. You have shares in KCM. You have shares at Kansanshi. You have shares everywhere. You have shares. Number nishi muchita. Aaron Mwisa mutwebere rwati yo mkwai ababa songo nareiza vya mkweba muchalo cheno. Even China tightened its controls to China of these multinational companies. That's how you prosper as a country. Obwafia teya makampani yo. Utuleke no kuchita blame bane but evarengere tabasongo evarengere yo mkwai is the Patriotic Front tabareteka bwino yo. The mines minister has no clue, busy trying to campaign for next year, busy no kubepo obufi no kulalondorore evintu vishire panga sense. How can a whole mines minister tell me to tell Kobati Tabeshi uko KCM yale tuale chuma? Ama bank accounts yaba Zambia. Elo yi company ga isura ama bank accounts uko as a board of directors mumwe Zambians mwalikuwa access to mwaishiva. Elo mwise mtuwebe ati yo kwa iyo It's because the Patriotic Front amano yapera tabako etefya kuchita nomba kwamba fyokulaba epa nokula chita fye chite nechiranderande epela. That is what is happening. Ebwaffe buli akutera kulya balefu wayo okulanda potomasho ipantu kwena mfuire naya muku efe nachishira bwangu lero because yeah that's the thing. Okay, so is there any question? However, this is a very good book. It's straightforward. This is a book here about Namfita Udi lawyer. You can read it. So contact Regan, okay? Contact Regan. Adi Fumiana second edition. Contact him. Ask him how much he sells these books. Limo instead yakobat mulifepa phone mulech the Facebook. Ema book yako shtaya. Or you Regan. Regan Blankfen Gates, Bachelor of Laws from the University of Zambia. Here we. So try to get this book. No kuberenga kutuwaberenga. Pakati berami bepati yo mkwai if you bachitire with liquidation if you fyaba yo. That's not what is supposed to be happening as far as liquidation is concerned. Liquidator kushtisha company. Not to kwamba tu kuchita split wetulepanga business. No, unless mlefu okuiba every thing. Okay. Let me see whether I can get a few questions. Godwin Senga, Botswana per capita kashefe barira ndapo aba. Any question? I can't see. Was put under receivership. It's put under receivership. So is he a trustee in receivership or is a liquidator? According to that order, Yala Ndogovat is a liquidator. Bright Mwika, kaingefe barechta, bare focus ampuisha no kuiva. You know, it's mismanagement. Complete mismanagement. Instead yakobati turechite fintu ifiri umuri amano, turechite fintu ifishiri umushiri amano. And we are saying that no, tatufire tu alanda po, kaingeta muri amano. Ex parte is wickedness. You have to hear both parties. I am one, the inter-party. And that's how it's supposed to be. It's inter-party. Okay? But there are some times where we go for ex parte applications all the time. But for liquidation, I think going ex parte for a liquidation, no. I don't think it should be. No, come on, no. You are going to appoint a liquidator to take charge of a company. And then you go ex parte. UPND has lost an election in Kasempa today. Okay. What is your take on the dividing into why it is still you, the cadre, and who made that decision? At Nimiringo, is decided to split it into two. It's very sad. And it's sad not because at yo it's not making sense. But everybody split into two. And as a liquidator, MP. All these things are happening because PF desperately wants money, yes. And let me tell you, there will be a show this year. Splash. You haven't seen anything yet. You are going to be introduced to real money. So the question here is, Where has the Patriotic Front gotten the money that it is beginning to distribute between now and election day? It's from companies like KCM and from liquidation. Abena miringo, bala bapera kopate. Kaingefe babera ma members. So if you go back that your KCM matibari pira ama suppliers, how many suppliers have they paid? Very few PF connected suppliers. Otherwise, CEC has not been paid. Several other suppliers, Shingol, have not been paid. Baba Shinga vebata all the time at Yom Guaima in Natu Pokorola, Pamongo Boteko. But it's not in government hands. It's in the private hand, a private person. Miringo, Lungu, liquidator. No experience with mining at all. No track record, no experience. He's a lawyer, and lawyers have run nothing. Challenge me, which lawyer has run anything? Which lawyer has run anything? Nothing. A liquidator attach the split company into two, attach the shani. Anyway, I'm going to end here and in quarter meeting so we're going to talk about other topics another time. Thank you very much for joining me in this very spirited discussion. Otherwise, I'm a lawyer's verami beba. Law, it's very easy. Kutu waberenga. Ichichibuku ichiberenge. There are maybe you very much complicated. Nefishiri complicated. Imumas minute fiava complicated. I think in if you're not a lawyer, coach to simplify fee. No kufumia mobu fee. Obama lawyers remo babepa bandu. Kwana kari mofia dishupasa yom kwai bokwiri. Nangu fite iwe lawyer kutu waberenga. Idi. Kutu waberenga. Remember. Excellent. Reagan gets. Remember bokwiri. There's a second version. Regan, if you are listening, please give the people the link where they can buy this book. Liquidation chalo la muisa. What is liquidation? Ngarakutira mwachita point liquidator. Chalo la mui. Uje liquidator nomba. Kuchatampa kokula chita run company kwa nakalimo ni normal business. No kuchita split, arechita split. If you ama judges, if it's another day, ama judge talafui de okulapela ex parte orders that have permanent effect. Imagine, vapoka, vakupokolola. Na ukwataka company, nomba ka company ka kongola ko. Elo nombo muntu kongere aya apoka. Wa umfuafi yuole vuko luchero ati company vapoka. Kainge company is a person. But it's a legal fiction, right? Company is a person on its own. It's a legal person on its own. So you ole buka bapoka. Wa yakukoti ati yo ndandeko elo judge akwe ati yo mkwai company yabo tule umfuako ni aba bapokere. Emo chidore. At number ngai nemukangu for this ati you have no standing. Everybody there case Vedanta you have no standing. Lusaka High Court. Ukweva Vedanta, during the time of the inter-party hearing, you have no standing in this matter. And why don't I have standing? Vedanta yaipusha. No, Vedanta, you are just a shareholder. You are a company KCM. Na wapo kakale, miringo emuine nomba. So, nomba, okoto wakula umfwa, about KCM, ni kuli miringo, not kuli Vedanta. Vedanta okupapa mwe, vane, but we've made this company together with the ZCCM. Nomba mwatupoka shani elo mwapela miringo. Ati enife fini ale miringo londolola. Miringo everem kwa hii company na ifwa yankongole sana. So muyumfuira kuli Vedanta mule umfuira fe kuli hine. Na la kontolola. Na la lipire nkongole jonse shiripo. Na la shitisha chichi company. No maize dia kushitisha bwino. We tabale shitisha yo. Tule umfuati bale panga ma business plan. We liquidate kairi. It shows ukweba tabako ete pure intentions when they started. They never had. Kuiba. Okay. Thank you very much for joining me. I've got to end here. God bless you, and God bless our country.